Okay. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You good, Mr. Sand. You good, you good, you good, you good. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing well today.
That's good. That's a good thing and stuff like that. Basically, want to welcome everyone. It's up to another episode of Today I'm Thinking. Yeah, I know that's a catchy name. Yeah, Today I'm Thinking. It's also, an offset episode of Real Talk, Real People. Today, like I said, I wrote this down. You also don't excuse me that I'm using my phone because I got these gray hairs, honestly. So basically, I want to just say that today I'm thinking about legacy. Today I'm thinking about legacy, and not the kind written in books. The kind written in people, the kind that walks into broken spaces and says, "You still matter." Today I'm honored to sit with 75 years old, 75 years young, right? 75 years young, young educator, activist, community leader, father, grandfather, great grandfather, someone who didn't just teach lessons but lived them, and that's a whole different realm within itself and all that. And for decades, this elder has also worked with incarcerated men, I believe. Yeah, they worked with incarcerated men, young people, not seeing these young people and these incarcerated men, and in our community at statistics, but also not seeing them as headlines, but seeing them as humans and sons, fathers, as human beings in the sort worthy of him. And if in this world that often throws people away, he chose restoration. In a system that labels, he chose love. This isn't just an interview, you all. I just want you all to know this is just an interview. This is wisdom. This is testimony. This is legacy. This is legacy conversation that we're getting ready to have. So basically, just I want you all to just welcome and we're honoring the elder, Robert James Mosley, and I just want you all, to welcome to our village. Welcome to our village. And for those who may not know you, can you introduce yourself and just give us a little bit about who you are and how your journey began?
Well, I come from a very, very old family,
Mm-hmm.
not just here in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
There are three lines in my family that I come from. So when you say the three lines the family met,
Yes.
in the Tuckers who come out of Louisiana, Missouri, Mosleys that come out of Atkinson, Kansas. So that intersection of people showed up here in Milwaukee, and out of that, I come out of those family lines. So I know that I'm not just representing a name of a family. There's a collection
Mm-hmm.
of people that I come from, and I'm aware of that. And so I do what I do because it's been family tradition, particularly to be of service. That is the primary thing. So there's a number of different examples that I was told about in terms of how our family was connected to people in community and society and helping make things better.
Right. Okay.
So just so to say, rubbed off on me.
Right. So just that family journey that I heard all the family members, somewhat seeing how close knit, how traditional your family was. That's how kind of your community journey kind of sprouted and began. I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was my elder family members and hearing the stories and talking with my other cousins where we found out about that history that's been consistent
Okay.
for almost 200 years when you put it all together. In Milwaukee alone, it's been since the 1930s
Okay.
when my auntie did much of her work at St. church at that church and school. So that was where she would adopt women and take care of them and raise them, basically.
Yeah.
That form of community service. So we were taught to be of service to the community. And so we learned from that.
Mm.
My grandfather were parts of, and grandmother was part of the early St. Mark's
Okay.
in
Mm-hmm.
the 1917,
Mm-hmm.
1917, 1920s. My mother did the choirs and things like that. See, all these things are forms of community services.
Right.
My uncle, in terms of just organizing workers and helping organize workers in 1916,
Mm-hmm.
that was done here. Those are all community service thing.
Yes.
So it's in the
Yes.
blood, so to say, literally.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Because one thing, I learned that as a child growing up in that child, that we, representation matters,
Mm.
and and seeing how others move, adults move as a child, that's how you move. And some, that's why in some aspects you tell parents, watch children watch what you do, not what you say. Is the I guess that's the term. I think that's the term. And so what are some of the other childhood just go back to young James, that like, okay, this shaped me to do this, yeah.
Okay. Well, to be honest, we were so poor in the 50s. We lost our housing and we were the first of some hopeless people in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were connected to the Catholic Church. So we were part of Catholic Charities of
Mm-hmm.
homeless families in the 1950s.
Wow.
And so that's what my mother would do. So I remember being in places that other people's homes that wasn't our home.
Yeah. Mm.
When you talk about that kind of poor,
Yeah,
okay,
that's Pope.
raggedy
Right.
poor, okay.
Wow. Wow.
And so my mother wanted to change the environment, so
Mm-hmm.
she moved to her mother-in-law's. We moved with her mother-in-law's nephew
Mm-hmm.
in Waterloo, Iowa.
Okay.
And come to find out he was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
ex-veteran, and very abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a time period of 6 years where we were in terror because he was
Really?
both an alcoholic and abuser. And he
Yeah.
used to drag us down when we slept in the attic and
Yep.
drag us down and sit us in front of the door from the kitchen and have us listen to him beat my mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my work now around domestic violence was
Right.
grounded
Right.
in hearing those sounds.
So so those sounds that kind of impact us. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, because I've heard about a term, this the psychology of sight, the psychology of smell, the psychology that they can trigger or activate, or trigger that can activate something that you didn't even know that was present,
Well,
and
yes, and
mm,
being chased and having to hide in closets and
yes,
houses and having seen somebody come up the steps where you hiding in the closet
yeah,
hollering, I'm gonna kill,
yeah,
I'm gonna kill Julia and them kids.
yeah,
And you're a little 7 years old hearing that.
yes, yeah,
That's terrifying.
yes,
So we spent years like
mm,
that.
okay,
And so that's the backdrop of
yes.
those kinds of fears in family that
Yes.
has helped me understand why I do the work that I'm doing now with men, particularly in domestic violence.
Because I know a little bit of your history also is working with youth, and best I believe being an educator. Yes, go ahead.
What I did in 68, I was the youth program director for half of the Lutheran youth program,
Okay.
1968. And so we had a program, and then we worked with Lori Wynn,
Mhm.
who's passed now, bless her.
Mhm.
And we worked with Dr. Ashley Mensa. Okay,
Right
who's
capacity.
is
Right capacity. Right.
right to
Yes.
pastor.
Yes. Mhm.
And so those are the individuals who I learned from working with youth and youth education.
Okay.
And so we had a program at that time we called it Summer 69 Black Full Scale Education Program that was on the summer, but it was throughout the year
Okay.
and having conversations and talks about what it meant to be black. And so we would do that. And so there was a whole crew of
Right.
individuals that would
Right.
come from Riverside High School, primarily North Division, and the surrounding neighborhood around 18th and Locust as a part of the youth programming at Heather Luther.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
that's what I did for several years.
Oh,
And then I did youth work in Chicago on the west side of Chicago.
okay.
And I ran a program called the Fifth City Jets. And that was a youth program.
Mm,
Now this is right after the riots.
okay.
Reagan,
The riots of
Chicago,
1968.
68, yeah,
The presidential. That
yeah,
would be the presidential riots, correct?
yeah. And Daley said his quote was let them sit in. So stuff stayed raggedy, out, messed up buildings for years. That was the environment that we did youth programming in.
Right.
And
Okay.
so when you see when you combine all these things, I've had experience in, like in Milwaukee, more in kind of the religious setting,
Right.
but then rebuilding community from
Hmm.
scratch and working with youth in that environment. In turn, also working with, and in that time period, the dominant gang was the vice lords,
Right.
and working with vice lords to
Hmm.
help rebuild community.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask this here. So working with youth and stuff, I want to ask you this. I ask all the elders that from the generation and stuff. What did education mean to your generation compared to now?
It's not what you know, it's how you made use of what you know so that you can get better at, in my case, working with other individuals. So in understanding that, when I learn, something about, how people think and how people live and work and everything, and then you read things about that. But then when you go out into the neighborhood, you've got to translate that
Right.
to the environment that you're in.
So,
So translating
mhm,
sometimes some of this book knowledge
good.
into practical knowledge of what to do when you're in situations, that's what takes practice. And so the years of practice is
Hmm.
what I've been doing
Yeah.
is learning how to turn things that I learned formally in books and other kind of things into the work with people in communities
Yeah.
and with organizations. So it was always work that was always living, growing, and developing
Yes.
from understanding some real basic things about people.
Right.
Comparison to nowadays, people have a lot of tools, namely technology, that sometimes can bypass learning.
I mean, it's like that's because nobody picks up books anymore. They hear read a book anymore. That's what I'm starting to notice itself, right? They'll scroll through their phone and you Google or
Right.
something like that instead of picking up a book or reading. And that's why probably what I always ask the elders, what did education mean to the generation then to now? And it's like I'm hearing different answers that education isn't as valued as it was then.
It's the life experience.
Okay.
And so when you're able to take and help individuals work through life experiences,
Right.
then that's really when
Mhm.
education takes place. So whatever you call it, you could tell somebody, I want to help you heal. Now you read about healing and everything like that. But what does that mean?
Right.
Well, fundamentally that, I'm gonna step you through getting better. So here are the little step that we're gonna take that'll create some improvement in what you're doing.
Okay.
That's healing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not just some words you say.
Right.
There are steps, there are processes, techniques, there's methods, there's things that you do that step people through little goals,
Right.
little bitty goals that
Yeah.
get better, get little bitty goals. That's part of healing,
Yes.
getting better.
Right. I mean, and I agree with you. Sometimes the word, you put the word healing or heal out there, and it gets muddled and all that, to where some understand, some don't. It's up to, and some well, I heard that on TikTok about healing, and.
I pay attention to the words
Yes, sir.
and what's the root of the word itself.
Yes, yes,
See, it's
yes.
really talking about health. How do we heal? HEAL, healing, health, HEL. See, it's growing to become more healthy. Okay?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
improvement. And
yeah,
that's all it is. And
yeah.
so when we're working in our communities,
Right.
it's about helping our communities to become more healthy,
Yeah, yes.
more vibrant, more improved, better understood. That's what that is. And that's what healing is. It's creating systems for health. You get better, you're more improved, you're doing this better, you're
Right.
more effective this way. So
Yes.
that's healing is all part of that.
Yes.
And it can happen not just in people in service, but sometimes systems have to be healed
Yes.
because they're broken.
Yes, and I want to touch on that because we're living at a time. There's a lot of community ills, conditions socially and families and all that. What social conditions or injustices move you to become an passionate activist to
Well,
heal me?
one of the things, particularly when I was working in West Side of Chicago,
Right.
what I began to get really good at. I was good at working with people and taking some time and stepping through building a plan for improvement step by step. So
Hmm.
what I learned is what is considered just planning and strategic planning, not be just so impatient because something isn't getting worked out real now. But
Right.
what are the steps that you take to get this worked through? Who are the people in the government? Who are the people in terms of the business? Who
Hmm.
are the people? What are the pieces that are needed to create the healing?
Right.
Let's plan how we're going to connect these people to get some momentum created. And so I basically became what is considered a planner.
Okay.
I would bring groups of people together to figure out the different angles
Hmm.
to move something through. The variety of people would have various different gifts and skills and experiences. My job was to kind of pull that together in a common understanding.
Oh, okay. So
See,
so you notice
yeah,
each individual had their own strength,
exactly.
so they can stay because um this is according to your strength. This so nobody jumps in lanes that not
They
doesn't
don't know what they do.
they don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
And you bring those together and you hear the advice, the
Okay.
life experiences,
Yes,
the
sir.
understanding that that person had, and you figure out where that fits into the plan.
Yes,
And
sir.
so that's what I would do for a lot of organizations to
Okay.
help them build strategic plans
Mm-hmm.
and build organizations to sustain people to help them stay together as they work together.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the other part.
Okay.
People can talk about what they want to do, but what do you do to stay together as an organization now?
Okay.
Say now
Right.
you are a unit of people. How
Right.
do you stay together? And so the idea of planning the internal
Right.
way that you all will stay together, that was
Right.
part of strategic planning,
Okay.
not just what you would do in the community, but how you would keep yourself together and how you would hold yourself accountable. What what rules,
Right.
what methods, what ideas are you going to practice to keep the group together?
Okay.
You got to know what that is
Yeah.
and practice that because that's what you all have in common. Then you can also work on what you do in the community. And so those two things have to go together. The inside and the outside got to go together.
Yes. I mean, and and because that's a good concept. That's wisdom. I can say that because sometimes groups that start moving and they wonder why nothing's getting accomplished or nothing's done because I forgot the saying is that if you fail to plan, your plan will fail or something that seemed like that concept, because we were talking about healing. That concept can also, because I know some of your work is around fatherhood and families, and also work a lot of our people that come through our doors, the Alma centers like that is men and women, especially men that are formerly incarcerated, men that healing focused cares. You told me a little bit about what drew you to that work. In your experience, what's the biggest wound these men carry?
Well,
The biggest one is these men
you
carry.
know, well, and there's several. It's really not, I don't think it's just one
It's
type
not.
of wound. There's multiple things that cause individuals to become, wounded. Now, along with the wound comes pain. See, people are dealing with pain when they're wounded. You ever got cut and it didn't hurt? They go together.
Yeah.
A wound and a pain go together.
Yeah.
So that happens with a person's own internal self. So there's some pain that's there. Not paying attention to the pain
Mm-hmm.
is what happens sometimes when we see in our particular work with men. I wanna not avoid the question or find the biggest or whatever it may be, but
Right.
in the process,
Mm-hmm.
when a person is able to look into themselves, okay, they can see how they've been wounded
Okay.
through trauma and everything. Now the question is, what did that feel like?
Yeah.
Now that is part of the difficulty because paying attention to feeling
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, particularly in the culture of men, been taboo.
Okay.
So one of the biggest pieces has to do with having men understand how intelligent feeling is.
Yeah.
See,
Are you talking about that?
yeah,
Are you talking about emotional intelligence?
no,
Yeah, I'm just asking.
see, emotion and pain are not the same
Then
thing.
that's safe. Okay.
You got to separate the two. And I'm going to just take a little side note on purpose. I feel like to teach.
No,
But see,
that's educated.
see, the the hurt
Yes.
is there. There's
Yes.
hurt that's there. That's a wound that's there.
Right.
Now, what lets you know that there's hurt there? You get a signal. That's called pain. Your brain has a system, a nervous system, and so you get this thing that, oh, see, and it's that pain that alerts you that you've been wounded. Now, you can't forget about the pain. You got to know what that pain is. And so that's the difficulty is working with men to discover not only the wound but the pain that they felt.
Okay.
That's is difficult. So no matter what it is, it can be deep hurt and anything like that. There was a pain that went with that. And that's the pain that turns invisible, that turns into an energy
Yes.
called energy in motion, emotion. So now I'm going to take that pain,
Uh-huh.
turn it into energy in motion, and it's going to be in my balled up fist. I'm going to transfer that which I have in me to my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to pop you in your nose. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, those things can become almost unseen inside somebody. And afterwards, a person might say, I don't remember doing that.
Mm-hmm.
God told me in class. I looked up, and what got my attention was I saw a piece of bone on my wife's nose
Right.
that I had split her nose off, and it brought me back. He told me this in class. I didn't know I had done that. There was so much in me
And you can get so much pain inside him.
and that fuel, and before you know it,
Yeah.
he didn't understand that. So
Yeah.
that's the difficulty. That is what is some of the work that has to be done is
Right.
having men look and see those things
Yeah.
and step into it, not from blame or guilt or whatever, but to say, that was driving me.
Mm-hmm.
That was driving me. So discovering it,
Yeah.
discover it, uncovering it,
Yes.
looking at it and saying, came from.
Yes. And and knowing where that came from, that leads having a conversation about accountability.
Yeah.
And so in your opinion, what role does accountability play in healing?
Well,
In your opinion and stuff,
well,
what role does accountability play in all that?
to
Healing.
to
That,
make
yeah. Go ahead.
to make something right,
Yes.
you gotta almost know how it got put together in the first place.
So acknowledging it?
Not
Yeah.
only acknowledging it, but know how it came together.
Okay.
When you having a bank account and you got so much money, you knew how that money came together so that you can have enough money to go buy that car, to buy that. You see,
Yes, sir.
you had to have an account.
Yes.
You had to track how you gathered enough for that to have enough power to be able to say, now I can buy that. Now with your life, you got to look back and see what have you put into your life. Now you are accounting for. Did this, I
Mhm.
did this. That's your account.
Okay.
You got to look at your own. That's your own account that you lived in life. And maybe you did your account in anger. Maybe your account was in resentment. Maybe your account was in dishonesty. Maybe your account was in I don't give it about anybody. Maybe that was your account. Look at that. And then now you're going to take that out on somebody.
Understood. Understood.
And so
Yeah.
I can harm you,
Okay.
I can hurt you, I can pain you
Uh-huh.
just like I feel.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm transferring my feeling, the account of my feeling. Now I'm transferring to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna pop you in your nose.
You know,
Hurt people, hurt people.
and that question about the biggest wound, and I understand, the explanation is that in my some of the work and some of the conversations I've had with some of the men, even when we do fatherhood, what's always comes out about fatherhood? Oh, I didn't have a father in my life. I didn't have, my daddy wasn't there. That father wound. But rarely do we talk about the mother wound.
But what are those wounds?
Yeah.
Now look
Go ahead.
look behind the scenes.
Go ahead.
I'm disconnecting.
Yes.
Okay? Whatever it was, I'm disconnected from another human being.
Exactly.
My natural drive is to stay connected.
Yeah. Is it that Maslow type of thing?
Yeah. My natural drive is to stay connected to another human being. And this was severed. And when that was severed, when that was cut, that hurt.
Yes.
Now, whether it was mother, whether it was father, whether it was grandmama, it's a disconnection. Now I'm disconnected. Nobody loves me. I'm not bonded with nobody out of feeling. I'm not connected to you with a sense of compassion.
Yes.
That's all been severed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. And
See?
yes. And as we look at how all that is carried, we call it the pain body, right? Yeah, we call the pain body, and that pain body is almost like a backpack full of bricks that we carry. And we look at just staying within your generational wisdom. I know the work that you do has been powerful. It's been legacy building. What I want the listeners to do is to just to hear that that wisdom. Everything comes from a place that ends up for the good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
You become aware of something.
oh yes.
Now, P, it's a perception.
Mm-hmm.
You see something.
Mm-hmm.
PA. And then where is it? This N A this N is a negative.
Mm-hmm.
That don't belong. That ain't it's a negativity. It's destructive.
Mm-hmm.
It has a cancer, whatever it be, a perception and awareness of inside negativity. I got that in me.
Yeah. Yes.
They call that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now what form does it take?
Mm-hmm.
Now you go back to what happened.
Yes.
What happened inside me
Mm-hmm.
when that was going on to cause a perception and awareness of inside negativity.
Yes.
I got disconnected, I got abandoned, I got upset. That's all negative.
Yeah.
That's inside negativity.
Right.
So now that's the big boom. The pain is
Yeah. And see one thing about males, human men, is that we internalize so much pain. We'll internalize our pain. You go ask the brother, you talk to him, how you doing? I'm good. You know, and he may be going through something. And we have a lot of youth out there that's carrying, with technology and all that's going on, they see so much and all that, and they're going through that to where they're trying to, who am I? And where's my masculinity come from? Where, do I have the right male models? What I want to ask you, Barbara James, is that how has masculinity changed from your youth to now? From your youth when you were young and growing up as a young man, growing up in it, to now? We're looking at to 2026, or has it changed?
The way it has changed, because I'll be honest with you, when my mother's boyfriend was coming at us and I saw the butcher knife, the shine of the blade on the one light bulb that was in the dark attic, my mother whispered in my ear, 6 years old, 6.5 years old. She said, Jimmy, something happened to me there. At 6, 7 years old,
Okay.
I took that feeling. That's what I did.
What's that?
I stopped.
Do you mean you shoved it down?
So after that,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of quiet. I could look at something, look at something,
Right.
somebody hurt so.
Right.
Literally, I didn't have much feeling for it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I realized I had just completely,
Yeah.
from that age on,
So you almost numbed yourself.
I numbed myself.
Wow.
I want to hear
Yeah.
nothing. I don't care. Yeah. Yeah, I help you. I've been whatever. I'm a decent person,
Okay.
but I ain't feeling that.
Yes.
Really. I mean, I'll do, but I really ain't feeling
Yeah.
it. See, so I'm saying that's what what I've learned now, that was reawakened when I revisited
Okay.
what had happened to me
Yeah. Okay.
and realized that that's how long I had been holding that inside and everything else that went with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling no pain.
Let me because you said that happened when were younger, and like I said, I got there's some childhood trauma also. Like I said, I carried with me for a while, a long time, where it was affecting it was affecting relationships, not just romantic relationship. It was affecting where I worked at, my employer relationship, affecting everything around the board as a young man coming up, because there's that a lot we don't understand. There's a transition from maleness to manhood. There's that transition window. What I want to ask you is what do older men understand about responsibility that younger men may be struggling with? What do older men understand about responsibility younger men may be struggling with in your
I think the idea you talked about accountability,
Yes, sir.
but along with accountability, letting go of blaming others when you had a part in it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
some of the learn because what you learn how to do is blame everybody else, blame
Mhm.
everybody else, and not others.
Mhm.
And what I realized, and I was telling about this stuff I stuck down for so
Yes, sir.
long.
Mhm.
I was getting ready to shoot this guy one time, and I was running, and I pulled my finger off the trigger.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
but it wasn't just. I asked myself a question. I didn't think that. I didn't care. That. Why was I at that point where it would have been easy for me to pull that trigger? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So there's the difference. There
Okay.
was a point in my life.
Mhm.
That's when the wanting to look in and take account of
Yes.
myself.
That's good.
Something happened
Yes.
and it shook me. And
Right.
so there's going to come a time. There's the shift, the
Yes.
difference. There's going to come a time where something will shift you,
Yes.
shake you up. Maybe you lose everything, things fall apart, but something happens when life completely alters itself. This is the question now. Does the man emerge from that? So, yes, sometimes as a young person,
Right.
you go through that. Can you make it through that storm?
Yeah.
And that is one of the trials of manhood. Well, I literally taught thousands, worked with thousands, literally thousands of men, taught
Mhm.
bunch of classes
Right.
and talking
Mhm.
with people like this one-on-one.
Right.
Thousands I've done.
Yes.
And there's this point in life, they all said, I went through something. It might have taken me a couple of times when I got locked up when I was in solitary,
Right.
when I realized that I was obeying my father's voice in my head and I didn't have my own voice
Right.
when I was locked up. Finding places where you were so shook up
Yes.
that it took away that old world,
Yeah.
that old and young world.
Mhm.
Now you have to replace it with something different, new.
Right.
So that's the challenge, being able to
Right.
have the language, the feeling, the desire
Mhm.
to go forward
Yes.
for a reason. So
Eh,
so that's that
Yes.
piece, that's the
Yes.
separation between between young man
Now, yeah,
and
automatic.
see
Yes. Yes.
and I don't by experience, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I've done this with
I know. Yeah. I know.
hey,
Yes. Yeah.
that will come out.
Yes. And
Everyone.
right, because because when I was at that young male transition, I can't speak for you, but I can speak for me because we're having this conversation together. Even when I had conversations with other friends of mine, other men friends of mine, and my son also, is that I had a hard time. It took me years, almost like I said, till I was 40 something years old to forgive myself, for something I didn't have no parts in, but it was the pain and the pain body. So what role does forgiveness of self and others play in rebuilding your life?
Well, there's
For the audience,
you give forward.
give forward. Yes, yes, yes,
You
yes.
you make a decision that you're not living in the past. which includes with other people. You ain't living out of those stories no more.
Yes,
You
sir.
ain't living out of the pain. That's not your source of energy for living no more.
Right.
And so you choose to give. That means that now that can mean a number of different
Mm-hmm.
things. See, giving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now something's got to be created to go toward
Yes.
giving forward.
Okay.
So that means starting new, starting different.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be an absolving of the past. You cut the chains of the past, even with the other people.
Yes.
I'm done with that. Stop giving forward. And you mean that for yourself. So I'm going to give myself a forward. I'm going to grow forward from here.
Okay.
I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to practice forgiving others. I'm cutting them chains. I'm not holding on to that hurt
Okay.
because it's doing something to me.
Yeah. So you're telling,
Yeah,
basically it's just about letting go, letting go. Or you letting go,
that
and is it important to forgive yourself, forgive others?
because you're letting go of the pain, the perception and awareness of inside negativity. Pain, not just hurt. The perception of where inside negative, you're cutting that negativity, that PAIN,
Okay.
that inside
But you know what, Mr.
negativity.
Jack? You know what, Bubba? You got me there. You got me there. Cause you had
See
it.
that?
Wait a minute, hold up. Cause see, audience, I don't know if y'all caught that, but that was an acronym that you just put out. PAIN. P is what?
The perception,
A is what?
awareness,
I is what?
inside
And the N is what?
negativity.
Negative pain. That was powerful. That was powerful. It took me a minute. See my slow brain, my slow brain. But that's an acronym, you all, and all that. And that's powerful because in essence, you can't, if you can't so much pain, how can you forgive any? You can't forgive yourself. You can't forgive nobody. And it becomes gaslighting after, if you put it. I'm gonna ask you this and stuff, then, because we look at all the community as a village. Takes a village, to raise a child, and we have to come, unified. What role should fathers, faith leaders, and mentors play in all this?
Well,
Uh,
here's the role I would
yes.
say. It's based upon the understanding of the word father itself.
Okay.
It's contained in the word. When you break the word down,
Yes.
see, the word father
Mm-hmm.
actually comes from the Latin pater.
Mm.
Back in the days when before English, there was a lot of stuff in the Dickens church. It was written in Latin. So that the prayer that many people don't call the Our Father was called the Pater Noster.
Okay.
Pater, Father,
Sure.
Noster, our.
Yes.
So the role, the place, the purpose of Pater is the pattern.
Mm.
Now, what do we know about patterns in modern time? You call it GPS.
Yes.
That's your roadmap.
Yes.
Okay? That's a pattern. So, pater, you're supposed to be the roadmap.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That.
That inventors, sponsor, you become the roadmap. And
Yeah.
that's what it means to be the qualities of father, the
Mhm.
pater.
Okay. Right.
You are saying, here's the roadmap. How you do? Well, I've been through that.
Right.
You the roadmap.
Right. Yes.
That's what we do.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons why
Right.
we had these kind of conversations
Yes.
in the early years of the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative.
Right.
Conversations like this.
Yes. And what I'm hearing from you and stuff is basically, what the call has been for it. The role of fathers, faith leaders, and all that. We have to take, kind of like here, reclaim our position as the navigators. The torchlight, the searchlight, all that. The lighthouse, all that.
That's what that is.
Yes. Yes.
Now
Yeah.
that does not deny.
Right. This has been powerful. We're gonna, put some icing on this cake. um, Let me ask this, and then we're gonna, kind of, that's it. You're gonna give some party wisdom that if you could speak to policymakers directly, what would you tell policymakers? What would you tell them? Even because the work we do at, as far as, prevention of domestic violence, sexual assault, fatherhood, bringing families and health to that. if you could speak for policymakers, just not in the work we do, but the community, if you could speak to them directly, what would you tell them? If you get an audience, with the Senate, Congress, what's up?
Well, we're not talking about, shaming anybody or anything like
No.
that, but it's really about the what is considered the humanistic perspective. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that each person goes through a human experience, and no one person has made life perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so there will be humans that will make mistakes, need to be held accountable for those mistakes as needed. But it's also important to put in place the kinds of things that help people grow out of those old habits. Supporting people, post-prison services, all those things that are necessary are critical for healing or health to take place in the community. Now, if a community has economic wounds, it's the same thing. The importance of building the kind of systems that will stabilize economies, stabilize education, bring a fairness, a humanity into these systems to understand every person there. Thousands of children in school are going through a human journey. They're just not in school. Every day they're going through the human journey.
Yes, yes.
And so our job is to craft an experience that helps them understand the human journey and that they're part of this human journey.
Okay.
And that this system is responsible for the people that are in this journey. They're just not just numbers or whatever they be. And we don't know how those individuals will turn out, but we want to provide them with the best opportunity for improvement as possible. To me, that's the humanistic perspective. Now, that might be idealistic,
Right.
but that's underneath why I've been doing this stuff for over 50 some years.
Okay. All right.
It's just to bring out the human perspective, the love of life.
Yeah. And that's legacy. That's legacy.
That's all of it.
Yes. Sure. So here's what we want. Here's what I'm asking. I'm gonna turn the camera over to you. And just if you can, in closing, some words to the next generation. Not me, not none of the next generation that's coming up under us. If you had one final message, sir, if you had one final message for men, young men who feel broken, what would you say? There you go. And you don't look in that, talk to him. Talk to him. Talk, sir. If you had one final message for men who feel broken,
I would say that in your heart, we ask a question. We could say simply, and I've done this with many people, young and old. I ask the question, what is the largest room in the world? And the answer to that is the room for improvement. Well, what is improvement? And the first for you, it's a code. You break the words around, you switch them around, you know what it says. Improvement meant to prove your life, meant to prove that you are living improvement. You're meant to prove something with what you're doing, what you want to prove that you want to leave behind.
that's
See?
yeah.
So what do they say? Living proof? That's improvement. You don't stay a baby forever.
No.
You are constantly improving yourself. Tap into your natural understanding that it's natural.
Yes.
I'm meant to improve. Improvement.
Yeah. All right. Robert James. So like I said, that's dropping some powerful jewels because we'll try to take on a lot of stuff on our own, try to carry that weight, but sometimes that weight gets too heavy. And they say about keep your crown on. That crown gets heavy. There's a couple of documentaries called Heavy as the Crown. That crown, and that was a great piece of wisdom is because it is about improvement. It is about improvement. And I want to thank you for gracing the village.
Well, can I put one more in here?
Go, sir. Go for it, sir.
You always king.
Yes.
You always king.
Yes, sir.
What is the king?
Yeah.
Knowledge and intelligence never G.
Yeah.
You're a king.
Yeah.
Your knowledge and intelligence never goes away.
Yeah.
King, say king.
Yeah, y'all got it. You know that was another acronym. I hope y'all had y'all pads and pencils when you lay here looking, because like I said, this is one of the elders is in, this is one of many of the elders is in the village. And there's an African proverb that says when an elder, becomes an ancestor, a whole library goes away. I want you all, like I said, I want to thank you. I want to thank you all because, like I said, great, grace in the village. And we have to understand, we have to live to inspire. And we have to inspire to live. Just want to leave you all, would always leave you with, be intelligent in all your actions and reactions. And remember that do something good for yourself, do something good for someone else, and live accordingly. So you all say, well, thank you, sir. Peace.